So therefore he's going to die. He will die. Ahaziah will die. There's no way he can stay alive. Once the burning desire of change rebels, that's the natural thing to happen, that the concept of God has to die. So how do we witness the concept of death of the concept of God? Well, we witness in many ways, many different ways. We have to evaluate the ideas or the system of beliefs that we have in our mind. We might think like, let's say when it comes down to money, for instance, we might have a belief installed in our mind that says that you have to work hard, for instance, or that you have to work too much, or that only when you get after a certain age you can make it, or that you have to be rich, I mean, to come from a well-off family, or that you have to go to X college or university in order to make it, or that you have to belong to a certain group or ethnicity in order to make it. There can be thousands, and it is just, I'm talking related to money, but it can be also to other aspects of our life. Let's say health, that you might have to eat the 3 meals a day in order to be healthy, or that you have to eat I don't know how many grams of meat in order to be healthy, or that you don't have to eat meat at all in order to be healthy. So what the text here is telling us is that we have to get rid of the concept of God that we have in order for, what's next? Elijah. In order to, and what has to be Elijah in our mind? He has to be a resident. He becomes a resident. The Tishbite is like a resident. So it translates into the adoption of a new concept, a new vision of God, a new idea. Elijah, I think that's how it's spelled, Elijah. So Elijah means here, it's not here the meaning. Oh, Yahweh is my God. We know that Yahweh means I am. I am is my God. So, in other words, we need to grasp that concept. Right after Elijah dies, we need to grasp that concept. And that is not an easy thing to do. I tell you why. Because by the angel of the Lord, we come down here when Elijah departed, okay? So Elijah delivered the message to the messengers of Ahaziah, and he departed. And when the messengers turned back unto him, he said unto them, Why are ye now turned back? And they said unto him, There came a man up to meet us, and said unto us, Go turn again unto the king that sent you, and say unto him, Thus said the Lord. And then he repeat this message. So we see here that is repetition in this. It is not like an easy thing, like overnight, that we will change or transform the concept that we have of God. It takes time, because we see how Ahaziah, he's got this belief system. He grabs that concept because that's how he burned like that. His mom, remember, Jezebel, his father, Ahab, they were already Baal worshippers and Beelzebub worshippers. They have a complete different concept of God. They have grasped a different idea of God. And Ahaziah fell in troglodytes means he's losing the grasp. And that means representing us losing grasp of the old concept we have of God, to welcome a new, completely new concept of God. And the concept of God is the name Elisha itself. the yeah, I am is my God, right? So, and that's okay. Where we are we now? So he asked, the king asked, and he said unto them, what manner of man was he which came up to meet you and told you these words? He's asking, what was, how did it look like? What kind of guy was it? And the answer is very interesting because they say he was a hairy man and girded with a girdle of leather about his loins. You see, hair man. This is very important because if we go back to the story of, I think it's Jacob, the elder son, the younger son who supplants the elder son and convince Isaac, his father, who couldn't see. You know, we are talking here about a vision of the Lord. And in that story also, his father was already very old and couldn't see. And the only thing he could only feel, right? He could only use his sense of feeling. And when his son, when he sent his elder son to go hunt the mother, she heard that, and he told his son, the younger son, who didn't have hair in his body, he told him, okay, go on, kill this little goat, whatever, and we will make your father believe that you are the other guy. I don't remember exactly the names, but that's this point, that's the story. And he put some um, some scheme of with hairs in his body. So when his father told him, Isaac told, come over, I want to feel you. And he touched him and he felt the hair. He said, okay. So in that moment, he delivers his blessing. And I know that story sounds weird, difficult to understand, but the meaning of that story, I have to bring that here in this context because what that means is that the feeling, when we feel as if in the end the subconscious mind won't care, the subconscious mind cannot see, only feel. And if we manage to feel in a certain way, sooner or later we will just manifest that feeling into existence. So that's why he also, what it means here is that we not only have to grasp the concept of God, we need to detach from the old way we see God, the old vision of God, and adopt a new concept. Why I said adoption, I use the word adoption because if we go and check Tishbite, if we go and check the Tishbite here, what Tishbite means, Tishbite is dweller, especially as distinguished from a native resident, but not an outlandish dweller. So an outlandish dweller we will call probably an immigrant, undocumented, let's say, or temporary inmate or lodger. So it denotes a resident alien. So a resident, right? What happens when we become resident in a country, in a place? We are somehow adopted by the nation or the country, right? Once we have the residence, see, in the United States, the green card, in Europe, a residence card. So we are legal residents. We are adopted by the country in which we are. And we might even become national, but we still were born somewhere else and will be sort of like adopted in that place. In the context of what we are reading here is an adoption of an idea, right? Because Ahaziah was the idea that we lose grip on of. We just unlearned, something that we learned. As to grasp is to learn something, right? To understand something, but to lose grasp of something, we could understand it as the contrary, like we unlearn something, we just drop a concept. And then the ideas that we have to install, adopt the new idea, the new concept of God, which is Elijah, the Tishbite. Elijah, my God is I am, right? My God is I am. My God is not the statue next door in Ekron. No, my God is I am. Elijah tells that. And as I said before, the reason why he's the Tishbite is because it implies that we need to adopt it. We need to give it in our mind a citizenship in our mind. We know it's a foreigner. We know it's a strange idea. We know it's an alien. We know it has a different culture. We know it's from a different family, probably a different ethnicity. It's completely alien to our mind, to Samaria, which is our upper chamber. But we have to give him a citizenship in our life, in our mind, to continue with the evolution process, with the growth, right? Okay, so later on we continue reading on this chapter because it's gonna be large, because it is we have more to do with this process. It's not as simple. That there is some kind of, there can be struggles to get rid of those concepts, and because it's not just one concept, it's many different concepts. As I mentioned just right now, a couple of samples that can be the belief system that we have in our mind and we associate with God, that form the image of God, the vision of God, the grasp of God, the understanding of God that we have. And through understanding Elijah, we can get rid of it, and that's how the king dies, right? Finally. So up until this point, the king's still alive. He recognized, he said, when they gave their description, he said, oh, it is Elijah, the Tishbite. He knew it. So the guy is known. It's like, oh, okay, I know. I've heard about that. But actually, I never went into it, or I just heard the concept, but I never pay attention to it. Something like that is what we might experience reaching this point. Okay, so we will continue in another episode because this is going to be too large and I don't have enough space in my phone, and that'll be troublesome to upload. Thanks for listening. See you later.